Hey YouTube, it's Gabe here. So I want to just quickly showcase a couple of armor sets that I've been collecting in Destiny. I know it's a very old game and all that stuff, but there's a couple of armor sets that I've been collecting so far, specifically from inside the Silver Dust vendor in the Arena Engrams. So for all my classes, I've been trying to collect an armor set or two from this engram here, and the only way you can get some of those armor pieces are from these engrams, especially like the year 1 armor pieces that you can no longer get. And I've had my fair share of sort of time wasted, and I put a little bit of money in it to sort of get a chance to get these engrams, but I've been able to get them luckily. So the first set that I have is the Raku Crucible type, and I know that there is a normal Crucible type armor set that is similar to these, um, but they're not as appealing to me. So um, I definitely have enjoyed this sort of grind to get it. So this is what they look like default. Um, you know, obviously the green and like orange definitely is a turn off for me, but the blue and the black is what sets the armor piece a lot more interesting for me. So I definitely threw a couple of different shaders on to see how it looks. Obviously hollow is alright, but I definitely enjoyed shimmer since it sort of gives the touch of black and blue, which is honestly really cool in my opinion. And a lot of these armor pieces are pretty hard to see. You don't rarely see them too often. You see a lot of armor pieces that look similar to them, but they're not the same. Especially the reason that I collected all these armor pieces are because I definitely enjoy having the sort of aesthetic colors and the appeal of looking a little bit more different than everybody else's guardians and stuff. Um, a lot of these pieces are very hard to get only because there's a lot more armor than just these in those engrams, and they cost 5 silver dust for each one of them. So you rarely get to open these, even if you get silver dust, and um, it's honestly hard to get every singular piece back from it. Um, and like I said, a lot of this just comes down to appeal and the look of it. Like I just love the color patterns from the armor that makes me feel a lot more interested in it. Honestly, it makes me more interested in collecting a lot more pieces and stuff that look similar. Um, but they look similar to a lot of other pieces in the game, like that you can collect, like such as this one. Um, what's it called? There's certain armor sets in the game that look very similar to it. Future War Cult is definitely a specific one. I also have the full set of those to sort of show you the example, sort of like similarities and stuff. Um, but I just like the sort of color patterns, like I said. Obviously, Future War Cult just has a bunch of, the Future War Cult symbols and stuff on their armor, but I definitely do like the appeal of different looking armor, in my opinion. So, yeah, this is the first armor set that I definitely enjoyed collecting for a while, for a little bit. Um, the next armor set I have is the Commando custom armor set. It's the same thing. You can only way to get these armor pieces now are from the Silver Dust. What's it called? The Silver Dust store. So um, I definitely still same sort of experience. I definitely enjoy collecting these armor pieces as well. It honestly looks really cool. Like I said, a lot of these armor pieces kind of look similar to other armor pieces in the game. However, there's not too many sort of color palettes that are the same as this. So um, the red, blue, and white sort of really does look very aesthetic for me. Um, I mean, I don't really know what else to say because honestly, I definitely am glad that I got these armor pieces. They're not that they're not. It's not that they're like the rarest things in the world, but they're definitely hard to get only because if you're a person like me who likes obviously stats and stuff, I have a niche. I have a niche for collecting armor pieces that look cool and also have stats. Um, and like I said, there's not too many sort of armor pieces that look very aesthetically pleasing as these. I have another armor set that looks similar to it, and a lot of these armor sets come down to rare, looking similar to a lot of other ones, sort of the inspirations in a way. And obviously, it looks very similar to the Dead Orbit armor set. But I just like the appeal more because only of the color palettes and patterns. from these armor sets that I really do enjoy a lot. This is my shader that I like. This is what they look like normally. They don't look that appealing with a shader. Obviously, I don't have the mark for either of these armor sets, only because you cannot get the marks specifically. As far as I remember, the only way you can get them is from Crucible packages, randomly dropping as a mark from those packages, and they're very hard to find. But yeah, this has been 2 armor sets that I have for my Titan, and we're going to be moving on to the next character, which is my Warlock. We're back. So, switching to my Warlock and going to the tower. This next armor set that I have is this. I'm not even going to pronounce it because I feel like I'll feel like a freaking idiot for trying to pronounce this. But the Vanth set is another set that you can get from the Crucible Engrams. Same sort of dealio where you can get this armor set from those engrams. And honestly, this is probably one of my favorite armor sets for my Warlock that I've ever gotten. Because honest to God, there's only the one piece that makes it so cool is the helmet. I don't see too many helmets in this game that looks anywhere near as cool as this one. And what I mean by that is that a lot of Warlock helmets sort of have this sort of look to it. Sort of like oval-shaped head, egghead I like to call it. And this one sort of looks similar, but it honestly looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing because of the color palettes and also the sort of armor design of the helmet. It's a little bit more different. You don't see much armor in the game for Warlocks that look like that. And like I said, a lot of these armor pieces, I went for them because I knew that a lot of these armor pieces had a sort of an aesthetic appeal for me with color palettes and stuff. Most of the Crucible ones have a blue sort of color palette. Not all of them do, but a lot of them do. But this has been my favorite armor set for my Warlock so far. All because of the aesthetic. All of it's always just aesthetic. You're going to hear me say that a fuck ton of times, but it's honestly very true. But this is what it looks like default with no shaders. But obviously throwing a sort of blue shader on it, it looks way more fantastic, in my opinion. So yeah, this is the Vanth armor set that you can get from the Arena Crucible Engrams for Silver Dust. So the next armor set I wanted to showcase was the Extra P Morph set. Same thing, another Crucible armor set you can get from the Engrams. This one has a very similar look to the New Monarchy armor pieces that you can collect still. And I'm going to just sort of switch them so you guys can see the similarities at least and what they look like. So obviously it's the gold plating on the chest that is probably the most similar, but it's not gold, but it's like brass, I guess you can call it. This armor set honestly looks way better in my opinion than the New Monarchy armor set. I definitely have enjoyed it a lot more than the New Monarchy armor set. I like the appeal and especially the aesthetic again. It's always been just the aesthetic of the look of the armor. The helmet, a lot of this armor winds down to color palette and gold plating. The New Monarchy armor does not have that, but what's it called? This armor has gold plating that looks honestly really cool. Even without a shader, it looks honestly like one of the coolest color palettes and designs for a Warlock armor set. Base shader alone, it looks really cool. But that's the shader that I use to sort of make the red pop out a little bit more with the gold. But honestly, it's honestly a really cool shader, armor set in my opinion. And again, not too many armor sets in the game have that much shading to or color palettes in them. So it's honestly really cool for me to have this on my Warlock. And we're back for one more time with our final character, the Hunter. I have one set that I've gotten from those engrams on my Hunter. It is the Sanction custom. Very similar to the Commando custom and the, what is it called? The not Vanth, I forget the name of it. The other set of armor in my Warlock where they have very cool color palettes. And again, this one looks very similar to the New Monarchy armor. And I have that as well on my Hunter to sort of see the similarities. The only thing that makes it different is just the color palettes again, and it honestly looks really cool, way more cooler than the New Monarchy armor, honestly. The chest piece especially, I am a big fan of because it kind of reminds me of like a not a I guess a racing car sort of palette, but it definitely looks cooler. It has a sort of mix of the Iron Banner gauntlets and again the New Monarchy gauntlets, just without the sort of shoulder grasps. I don't know what to call it, just shoulder armor piece portion of the gauntlets. Um, I'm a very big fan of this armor set. There's a lot to appreciate, especially with the color palettes, and again, looks just really, really cool in my opinion. Um, I've definitely found ways to make this armor set look a lot cooler with shaders especially. Throwing on sort of blue sort of is like the contradiction of red, so blue and red always looks well together, and I honestly like it a lot. The way it aesthetically, it's very aesthetically pleasing to look at on my hunter especially. Um, so yeah, this has been a couple of armor sets that I've been collecting on all my three characters, and they're all from specifically the Arena Engrams over here on the Silver Dust Vendor. And I definitely appreciate the look and how much cooler they make my character sort of stand out. And I definitely hope to get more armor sets in the game and collect more stuff that looks very cool to me overall together. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed and sort of use this as a sort of inspiration for those that are still playing this game and enjoying it to sort of go for some other collections and other armor sets that look just as cool. Um, so I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to y'all later.